Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, here we go. Lakers lost. I'm sorry, I didn't want to open with that, but I had absolutely no choice. Welcome in the NBA Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com. Now, we are excited. Lakers disaster aside, we somehow managed to get Ski to still show up today because, well, we've got a few games, not just tonight, but over the weekend, we got a couple of game ones, too. So we will start, of course, with the Lakers and the Mavs game 6 here tonight. We're going to touch base on the Nets and Bucks series, which begins Saturday. And then Sunday, we got game 1, 76ers Hawks. We'll see if there is a possible game 7 sandwiched in there. Depends on what these three gentlemen think is going to happen tonight. And let's bring them in, of course, three of the absolute best at WagerTalk.com. Ski Profit, there he is in the house, pissed off as all hell. Screw you, Lakers! And you've got, of course, in the middle, it is Stevie in the middle, Merrill, 2 R's and 1 L. And welcome in, of course, Kevin Dolan, who does nothing. We continue to laugh, but all he does is continue to cash tickets in the NBA. So joke is on us here, guys. All right, listen, first round just about over. One more series to go. Couple of exciting series getting ready to start off, both in the East and the West. But, Ski, let me come to you first. Just want to get your thoughts there. Last night, we talked about it on the show yesterday that, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You were going to ride with him, which was never really in play last night, unfortunately. So what were you more upset about last night at the end of it all? Do you think the Lakers gave everything they had, or do you feel like there was some quitting involved there with some of those guys?
Yeah, a lot of guys quit in the last game before game 6. So
Nope.
it is what it is. I was pretty irritated, but I'm going to be over it. If I take away the futures that I lost on the Lakers, I had a pretty good day. So I look to continue winning today. I know I've been doing really good on totals, and I look to get on some totals today.
Yeah, no, actually crushing it on the totals across the board here, guys. Also, WNBA in full effect for Ski here tonight. So make sure you head over to WagerTalk.com. Stevie in the middle, Merrill, my man. What is going on? Continuing to dominate on the diamond as well as the hardwood. Still a fantastic playoffs for you thus far. What do you got locked and loaded here tonight?
Yeah, NBA won again with the over last night. That's the only time I'd used anything in that Lakers series. I used the over that did cash, so I believe it's now 10-1 since the $2 Tuesday play lost. Kevin, I wanted to get Kevin's reaction. So that was good.
That was good there.
You could tell Kevin's like a rock. We're going to start calling him the Rock, the Irish Rock, the Rock of Gibraltar. What's the Rock over? The Blimey Stone, the one you kiss? There we go. The Blimey Stone.
Yeah, the Blarney Stone. Yeah.
The Blarney. I got it close. I had the first letter right. But hey, I want to get the good news for Ski Profit is, first of all, there's another Los Angeles team still alive for at least another night. The other good news is I was thinking Joe Ranieri's Knicks route, so now Ski's Lakers route, so they can both have a lot of extra time to get to other activities like scrapbooking, taking care of their crypto wallets, other things like that. And then if you told me the Lakers were only going to get outscored in one quarter last night, you probably would have been feeling pretty good about it. So I don't know if you could say they quit, Joe, because they actually were never outscored after the first quarter in any quarter. But, down 36-14, I would think it's more that their effort wasn't there at the beginning, that they had already quit before the game begun.
It was, I want to say, maybe it was the next step. Like we're watching the next, evolution here of that next team with Booker and company. And we'll see, because the odds have changed on the Phoenix Suns. We'll talk about that coming up. But Kevin, what do you got going on here tonight into this weekend? I know soccer has been crazy for you. The NBA, of course, continuing to be profitable. What do you got going on this weekend?
Well, I just want to say, too, I'm pretty happy that the Lakers are gone, mainly because I'm a Boston fan, but also we have that plus 800 ticket on the Utah Jazz as well, which which looks a bit nice now. But yeah, I mean, across all sports, running real hot right now. Number one at WagerTalk last 7 days. Number one on the year, even in total profits. I'm pretty happy with that, obviously. And, not only looking down the break and some NBA playoff action, but, the Euro 2020 tournament kicks off next Friday. And, really excited about that. So, yeah, it should be a, pretty jam-packed week.
All right, guys. Well, we still got plenty of NBA action before we crown a champion, I believe, right around mid-July. So let's get started here with tonight's Game 6 here between the Clippers and the Mavs. And it opened up at 3. It's interesting. I've seen some 2.5s pop up there. I've seen it go back to 3. I'm seeing 216.5. So not a lot of movement in the total in this one here, guys. So, Ski, listen, we've had some fun, and we've been able to profit off of not banking.
Mavericks, just because I think they have the best player on the floor. And we haven't seen any kind of defensive scheme that's going to slow them down or stop them from the Clippers. So until I see something like that, that's the guy I want to lean on. I look more towards props in this game. If you like the Clipper side, I mean, you have to think that guys like Kawhi Leonard are going to get over his point total, or Nicholas Batum over his 8.5 point total. But for myself, if I'm playing this one, it's going to be Luka for me. I know his point total is 31.5, and he shoots like over 28 shots a game. So you have an extremely good chance of getting there along with the Mavs winning, and that's the way I see this game going.
It was a strange Game 5 there, Merrill, because it was all Luka all the time. Outside of Hardaway Jr., I think it was the only other guy really who scored 20 points. He only scored 105, the Dallas Mavericks, in the game, but there was a ton of distribution. You had a bunch of guys in double figures for the Clippers. They were doing good from that standpoint over there, finding the open shot. They played a little zone on them. We didn't get Kawhi dropping 30 or something like that. Are we going to get that again tonight, you think?
They're going to probably need it. And I think, the Clippers staying under and losing makes some sense in that last game. Both teams were ice cold, under 42% each. They each shot around 41.5%. Yet we still had 205 points. So I think tonight's game will be a little higher scoring. I think the shooting comes back. Keep in mind, there was 110 points at halftime in Game 5, and then it stayed under. The Clippers have obviously picked and chosen which times they want to be focused. We all know that. I stayed off them in Game 1. We all know I had a strong play on them in Game 2. That was that $2 play a couple weeks ago that lost. Everybody jumped ship after that. I've gone 11-1 since, 17-4 NBA run on each side. So that means 17-3 in all other games in the NBA on each side of that $2 loss, even though 95% of the people out there probably never got back on board. So that's my little soap op moment for the show, take a long-term perspective. I did have the Clippers in games 3 and 4, and I thought it was bounce back spots for them. It wasn't looking good at the beginning of Game 3, and then they turned it on. I stayed off Game 5 the other night. I did not trust LA off the back-to-back wins. They're that type of team. They just seem to take nights off. You would think with their backs against the wall now, you would get their A effort, and I do think they're still as good as anybody remaining in the playoffs. And I would expect LA to force a Game 7. That's going to get really interesting, though, because like you said, Joe, the road team is a perfect 5-0 straight up in ATS so far. If there's a Game 7, that means they're going to be 6-0 straight up, most likely 6-0 against the spread. And then we all know that Game 7 home teams win about 80% of the time, so we'll see if the Clippers can get it done still.
So I had to go to the SDQL database. It's been a while, but I wanted to go to the SQL database there for Ski and pull this out here, guys. The Mavs, 17-32-1 in home games off of a win since 2019. Let that marinate, Ski, for just a second. As Kev, I got to ask you, man, do you even trust home teams anymore at this point in this series? Are we looking at a Game 7 here no matter what?
Well, I don't know about trusting home teams in this series, because that is a crazy stat. The visiting team winning every game, first time in 26 years, I believe. So that's pretty noteworthy. And obviously that's good for the Clippers here. They know they can come here and win outright. They've already done it twice. But, it is bad in respect. What Ski said, Doncic obviously carrying that next strain into Game 4. And the Clippers, they even did a big run in the fourth quarter of Game 3 in order to get the victory there as well. So I'm not entirely sold on their chances of, pulling off a victory here tonight. Doncic looks back to his best right now, 42 points from Wednesday night's effort. Clippers only look to be getting back into that game as he was starting to tire down the stretch. And, I think Ski said it last week again, Luka's flat out bullying this Clippers team right now, and we're 5 games in, so we have plenty to read. And, apart from when he's been carrying either a knock or tiring down the stretch, the Clippers look completely lost and trying to contain him. It's got to be Dallas for me tonight. I do think that's the value side, or simply leave the game alone. I'd take the plus 130 outright price as well. I think if the Clippers win here, they'll likely cover. So I'm not interested in taking Dallas plus 3, paying minus 110 on that. So, yeah, I mean, the way I play this, Dallas on the money line plus 130, I like that.
So, Ski, I don't know, did you marinate on that number? Because I got another SDQL number for you in this series. You ready? Since 2019, the Clippers, the Mavericks, rather, just 1-7 against the number against the Clippers if they won the previous game. So it all keeps pointing to the Clippers, man. What do you think of the SDQL, man? Is it hot garbage, or are you going to back it here tonight?
The second one, I mean, that's just telling us how they played in the playoffs last year and what we've seen so far. So I already get where that's going. And the other one, it makes me a little bit nervous, but still, I'm not putting my money on the Clippers. So Dallas is nothing for me.
Hell no. Love that. All right, little SDQL for you here while we move on to a John Ryan. Speaking of SDQL, we move to the John Ryan predicted playbook angle of the day. And John Ryan, of course, you guys can catch him over at sportsmemo.com. Let's take a look here, guys. The angle is that we want to look at unders in games with a total of 220 or more, where one of the teams is coming off a double-digit win, where the other team is coming off a big overtime win of 15 or more points. We're looking at 77-38-1, 67% last 5 years. So that means in game one of tomorrow, Saturday's Milwaukee-Brooklyn, we want to look at the under in this one here. Interesting angle there. Merrill, I'll come to you as this game opened up at 3.5. I'm seeing 4s popping up. I'm also seeing, well, according to John Ryan, we're seeing that total come down a little bit. 240s seem to be the prevailing number here across the board. So talk to us. Is this a under that you could sweat out in a game like this, or is it just going to be over the entire series?
Yeah, as you know, with these systems, they're mostly regular season and overtime. A lot of times there's a no rest. There's a one-day rest. These teams are both very rested, so I don't think the overtime angle really applies to this one. But what does apply is game one Class A teams. I've used this for decades now, and I know it's a different era than in the 90s when I started, but I think the mentality still works. And that's, when you get 2 Class A teams playing in a game one, it more times than not does go under. And even if the stats and the numbers and everything make it look like it should be higher scoring, because the teams usually buckle down, they're usually focused. We see that a lot in game 7s as well for obvious reasons. And I think that applies here. You get both teams well rested. These are the 2 teams to beat in the Eastern Conference, really 2 of the favorites to win the whole thing now, especially with the Lakers out. And I think we're going to see a little bit more defense. The problem is, that's not Brooklyn's preferred style, and it's not necessarily Milwaukee's either. But then again, that's the point of the point spread and the over-under lines, and the odds makers have more than priced that in here at the big number. So I think you can make some reasons to look for a lower scoring game than might be expected normally.
What do you think, Kev, here? It's interesting. We looked at a lot of Milwaukee games here during the season, and we just went, there's no way. Is it over or not? We asked that question a lot in the overtime series, and it usually always had something to do with the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, we know they can score. Defense hasn't exactly been great. Do you trust either of these defenses to show up here in game one?
No, I certainly can't. It has to be over or pass for me here. It's just the nature of both teams. As Steve said, the Bucks averaged 118.5 points per game against the Miami Heat in the last round. Heat, much better defensive team than the Nets. And the Bucks are first in offensive rebound production. They shot 22 3-pointers in game 2 as well against the Heat. I mean, this team is really starting to look like contenders right now. By the same token, look, we know what the Nets are all about. First in offensive efficiency during the regular season, first in 3-point shooting percentage over the first round as well. But, their defense obviously still has major issues. 23rd during the regular season overall defensive efficiency. When they allowed what was basically a Boston backup squad to come in and hang 115 points per game on them, on average in the last round. I know, I've seen some 239.5 out there. I know that's a high total, but honestly, that's the only way I could play this one. So, yeah, it's over for me between the Bucks and the Nets.
Ski, this really does look like an all-star game when you have guys like Giannis, Durant, Kyrie, Middleton, Hart. I mean, look at all the guys that are going to be on this court in this series. We can always make the argument this is maybe better than anything we're going to get in the finals here this series. What do you think we're going to see in Game 1, though? Is it going to be all offense or maybe a little feeling out situation here?
Even if they're filling out, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of offense. For one, I think both teams will encourage pace, and there's not really much deterrent for Giannis to stay out of the paint on the Brooklyn side, from what I'm seeing. And Brooklyn has plenty of guys that are more than capable of scoring. So I would only look towards points in that one. I wouldn't feel comfortable sitting on an under ticket, especially not seeing the teams play. As far as the side, I probably would look towards Brooklyn. I look at the Bucks. I don't think they were good as a dog. I don't think they won or covered a game as a dog. Or maybe they just didn't cover. Or no, it's the same. My bad. Okay. They're 0-5, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And the Nets, their last 11, are 10-1 as a home favorite. So they got the big three there. They're playing good to end the season. They got the rest off in that first game. They're playing good again. So I would look for the team that's supposed to be the better team to get it done in Game 1. So Nets and over are ways I would look.
Nets and over. Merrill, what do you think? Do we get this series at some point, a game in the mid-240s? Do you think we'll see it here in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, we'll see how the game. It's going to depend on if Game 1 goes over. If Game 1 goes over, we'll probably have it in Game 2. But just to put how high this total is into perspective, there's 3 other games listed: tonight's games, and then of course Sunday and Monday's games. We're looking at totals of 216.5, 219.5, and 220.5 in those other 3 playoff games right now. So this is 20 to 25 points higher. And like I said, I can't make an argument statistically for the under. I'm just saying in general, these Game 1s do tendency to be lower scoring than you would think. But then again, I can't quantify that, and I can't really come on here and make a case for the under. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And I would not be surprised, Joe, if we see a high-scoring Game 1 to see a mid-240s, maybe even in Game 2.
Just head scratching here. What a battle that is going to be. And this one isn't going to be too bad either, guys. The one on Sunday looks like the 76ers taking on the Hawks in Game 1. Opened up as a 4-point situation for the Philadelphia 76ers. However, with Embiid's status, who knows how healthy or not healthy he's going to be. -2.5 I'm also seeing 220.5, the total hanging out there. Now, obviously, we're here on a Friday. This is Sunday. A lot can change. But it's interesting, Kev, that the line went certainly towards Atlanta. The money in the market right off the bat, dropping this to 2.5. What do you think of Atlanta's chances of stealing Game 1 there in Philadelphia?
I mean, it's definitely possible. This series really does depend on if Joel Embiid is fit or not. I don't think there's another player in the league, who impacts a team's game plan going into games as much as Embiid does, because, if he's out, the Sixers will have no choice but to do what they did to the Wizards, in Game 5, go with that smaller lineup, look to exploit pace and, do a ton of three-point shooting. If he does play, though, I just think Philadelphia, under that more defensive system, much too strong for Atlanta, in my opinion. The Sixers own the Hawks in the regular season at Wells Fargo Center. I think they won both games by a combined 66 points. As this number 2 ranked Philadelphia defense absolutely stifled them. And I think that's liable to happen here again. Trae Young has been a breath of fresh air in the playoffs, comes to play hard every single night. But, even with Capella backing him up, I think knocking off Philly over the course of this series might be a bridge too far for the Hawks. Either way, even without Embiid. But I like Philadelphia in this one. But if he is definitely confirmed out before Sunday, I like the over even more here in Game 1.
Oh, like in the over in that Atlanta-Philadelphia series. Ski, listen, it's, all year long, actually for the better part, right, of 2 years, it's been, give me the Sixers at home. On the road, oh, hell no. And it's interesting because Atlanta has not been good on the road this year. They've been much better, certainly at the end of the season, at home. So you see the market going towards Atlanta. Do you agree with that move?
It's tough. I kind of agree with what Kev said about Philly really needing Embiid, because if he's not there, I don't really have a lot of confidence. I know Philly, I'm high on Philly this year just because they're one of the better defensive teams, but Atlanta have a lot of guys who can contribute. So, and they've been playing well lately. So I think that they'll be extra motivated just knowing that they can potentially get a game here without Embiid. So I lean towards taking the Hawks out the gate, and I wouldn't be surprised if they split one of these games out of the first two for sure.
Could very well be a split there. Can they make the upset here out of a 7-game series with a hobbled Embiid? Any way Philadelphia can make it out of this series here without Embiid in your mind there, Steve?
Yes. I mean, if you look at what they've done since the coaching change, since March 1st, basically, this has been as good as any team in the league. They're now 31-12, I believe, their last 43. So that would equate to like a 62-game regular season, a full NBA season win. I mean, that'd be the best team in the league. So I know they're young, and we talk about how they've been much better at home than they have been on the road, but they also just, finished off the Knicks in a tough situation. Not only did they finish them off, but they beat them by 14 as a 1-point road dog. And this is a team that's as hot and playing as well as anybody in the league. And then on top of that, it's not like Philadelphia's got a ton of experience either. We talk about Atlanta's never been there, done that. The Sixers really haven't either. And now they're hobbled with one of the top 2 or 3 MVP candidates in the league. So I think Atlanta is definitely live in this series. And if they can steal one of these two in Philly, especially if Embiid's not 100%, they're going to be heading back to a home stadium where they're now on the season. What is it? I believe they're like on is it something like a 21-2, 22-2 run or something insane in the recent games. And they're going to be tough to beat in that situation.
Yeah, they certainly are here. It's going to be interesting, guys, on Sunday. Embiid is the big question mark there. But you look at the series odds, 155 there for the Hawks, minus 175 for the Sixers. Kev, any value to you one way or the other? I mean, if Embiid is all of a sudden healthy and ready to rock, is now the time to jump on the Sixers?
Yeah, because if he does end up playing, I think you're getting value on that line. As I said, I lean to Philadelphia, but I do like that over more. So, yeah, if he's starting, I'd back Philly. And if he's not starting, I really like the over because it changes Philly's whole game plan going into that.
Interesting stuff. All right, guys. We'll get to the best bets here in a second. I'll just quickly go around a couple of numbers here also that we should talk about, including the series numbers for the Bucks and the Nets here. I'm wondering if there is any sort of correlation to how you think this is going to go and there's any value here. The Bucks are plus 175. You got the Nets at minus $2 at this particular point. If Nets win game 1, Ski, it doesn't look like they're going to be around under $2 anymore anytime soon. So if you like, let's say, I don't know, you're rooting for the Bucks? You think any value there hopping on the series price now? Or do you think the Nets is the way to go? Grab them at under $2 while you can, because they win game 1, it ain't going to be at that price ever again.
I would disagree. I think with the Bucks side, if you say it's
correlate the game 1s to the series in this one.
Yeah, and as we've seen, whether it's basketball or hockey, the game 1s aren't always that telling, though. So I think one of the best moves you can make with any of these is to jump in and play an adjusted price in game 2. We talk about the Jazz lose outright as a 9-point favorite. They win the next 4. When we were doing the show last Saturday, Joe, you, Carmen, and myself were talking about how all those game 1 road dogs in hockey won, and then Carmine came back with that huge parlay. He played the adjusted like 1.5, minus 1.5 on a lot of them. So I think there's a lot of ways to play around with it. In general, if you like the team in that certain game, and that's when you want to consider, playing some of the series price, because obviously if they win as you expect, you're going to get a worse price. But it's the other way around if you think that game's not going to go for your preferred side. So if for some reason you think your preferred side in the series is not going to play well in game 1, then you want to wait and play the adjusted series price. There's just different ways to approach it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. All right. Also, a great way to approach it right now is to hop over to WagerTalk.com. Head over to Ski's page. Head over to Steve Merrill and Kevin Dolan's page, as these guys are not only locked and loaded for today, but, of course, a 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access package can guarantee that you are not missing a series bet, a game bet, anything that they like. Not, of course, not just in the NBA, but MLB, WNBA, soccer, across the board, 3 of the best here. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Take advantage now. Lock them in, guys. Grab those 3, 7, and 30-day all-access packages and guarantee yourself never to miss a bet, or a price for that matter. So let's start it off, Ski. Top of the board to you. We talked about 3 games this weekend. Give me an idea. Give me a prop you like the best. Give me a side you like the best. How are you going to approach here this weekend?
I haven't actually made a bet on any of these NBA games. As I mentioned on the show earlier today, the Wager Talk TV, I kind of needed a personal day from the NBA after the Lakers. But if I have to give a best bet, it would probably be, if I'm leaning on the Mavs, like I said earlier, I like Luka, and Kevin reminded me that I said that he's a bully.
Yeah.
Nobody's stopping him. Over 31.5. If I'm making a bet tonight, that's the one that it will be. I have extra time today because I don't love the call.
Give me the WNBA.
WNBA. Well, I'm on a good overrun, so I'll give you the over that I like. I like the Storm and the Wings. Wings getting a lot of players back today. I like that one to go over 170.
Damn, 170. All right, there we go right now. Hold on. Let me get wing over 170. All right, got it in there. All right, Ski, thank you very much. Let's go here. Merrill in the middle, 2 R's and 1 L. 60 seconds on the clock. We're all waiting for a prop at some point, so don't disappoint. What do you got?
I'm going to actually use a prop for the free play. So how's that for throwing a curveball there? But I got to do a little shameless self-promotion. First of all, we did win again with the over last night, that Laker game, as I mentioned. That's an 11-1 all-sports run since last weekend. And more importantly, I believe it's 9 straight wins since the end of May. So 9 straight wins, all sports, 17-4 NBA run longer term, 16-4 in the playoffs. And that includes the $2 Tuesday loss. So 16-3 on all other games. So those of you that jump ship after that one loss, shame on you. Gone 10-1 in the NBA playoffs since. I do have an NBA playoff best bet tonight. Also a Major League Baseball best bet. 2-for-1 special for Friday night. And half price for a full year still available, SM999. SM999. It's a great time to get a full year package for half price. Going to look at Paul George over 37.5 points, rebounds, assists combined. We're all talking about Kawhi, but the Clippers force a Game 7. Paul George has to play great. He's gone over this in the majority of the games. He's been close in the ones he hasn't. Paul George over 37.5 for the triple tonight on Friday.
Oh, look at that. Got the plug in and everything. Still time to spare. All right, Kev, here we go, my man. Lot going on here this weekend in the world of sports. Talk to us. You got a best bet. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, same as Steve, though, just before I get into it, like we got a coupon code. I love my coupons. So, $30 off a 7-day all-access pass, all-access pass, should I say, over at WagerTalk. Number 1 capper, total profits over the last 7 days. Number 1 capper, total profits over the last year. So, great time to jump on board and, see what we're all about. That code is Irish7. Irish7, get you $30 off our 7-day all-access pass until this Sunday. So, with that Euro 2020 package, great time to jump on. In terms of best bet for the show, we talked about this game earlier, obviously. And I like this for the Milwaukee-Brooklyn game. I like Milwaukee team total over 117.5 for pretty much all the reasons I outlined before. Milwaukee have had almost a week off after sweeping the Heat in the last round. I think they'll be fired up for this one even more. On Brooklyn, look, we talked about their defense. While offensively, they've been fantastic. Just continue to raise questions for me on the defense. So I think Milwaukee come in here, and drop 120 plus tomorrow night on the Nets. So, yeah, over 117.5, Milwaukee Bucks.
Love it. All right, there you go, guys. Across the board here, got a lot of different ways to go, not just tonight, but, of course, over the weekend, a lot of different angles to have. And in case you missed it, here they are one more time. Best bet recap, Ski. Give me Doncic all day, 31.5 points, going way over that. He might have that in the first quarter. Storm Wings over 170, already played that, ready to rock and roll there, WNBA. Merrill says if they're going to win the Clippers, it's got to be with Paul George taking control. What is that? Playoff P, I think. Playoff P over 37.5. Let's look at the Bucks team total. Over 117.5 as well tomorrow as that series gets underway. And our good friend John Ryan over at sportsmemo.com says Bucks Nets under 239.5. And that opened up at 241. So that's continuing to go down. We'll see if John Ryan is right tomorrow. But bottom line, guys, opportunities galore over at WagerTalk.com with Ski, with Steve Merrill, You heard Kevin Dolan loves his coupons. He just gave you one right now. There's absolutely no reason for you guys not to make it a profitable weekend here. The very first weekend in the month of June. Holy crap. College football will be here before we know it. NFL will be here. So let's make it a profitable Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Head over to WagerTalk.com, guys, and let's take advantage. In the meantime, we'll be back on Monday recapping what happened over the weekend. We'll take a look at some of the future prices for championships. We'll take a look at the series moving forward. A lot more to go here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. In the meantime, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. And make sure you come back and join us again on Monday. We'll do it all over again. Best of luck with your plays, guys. Thanks so much for stopping by. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.